There's a quiet truth about kidney health that most people don't discover until it's almost too late. These two fist-sized organs sit silently in our backs, filtering every drop of blood, cleaning out waste, balancing fluids, even helping control blood pressure. Yet when they begin to falter, the early signs are so subtle they're often ignored. I've sat with many older adults who told me, "Doctor, I just felt a little more tired, nothing serious." But behind that tiredness, the kidneys were quietly struggling. The good news? Simple natural choices can help protect them, soothe irritation, and ease their burden. One of those choices may be sitting right in your kitchen cupboard, a cup of herbal tea. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Vital Science for Seniors. Today, I'll guide you through 7 remarkable teas that may help your kidneys and restore a sense of vitality. When I first mentioned dandelion tea to my patients, many raise their eyebrows. "You mean those pesky weeds in my yard?" they'll ask with a laugh. Yes, the very same. But what many don't realize is that dandelions are far more than stubborn intruders. They are nature's quiet allies for the kidneys. For centuries, traditional healers brewed dandelion roots and leaves to help the body shed excess fluid. Modern science now understands why. Dandelions act as a gentle diuretic, encouraging the kidneys to release water and sodium more efficiently. Imagine your kidneys as overworked housekeepers, sweeping up toxins day after day. Dandelion tea gives them a stronger broom and a little extra energy to finish the job. I recall an older gentleman named Frank who came to me with swollen ankles and a constant feeling of heaviness. His creatinine levels were creeping higher, a warning sign that his kidneys were struggling. Frank was hesitant about medications, worried about side effects. With careful guidance, we introduced a routine: 1 cup of dandelion root tea in the afternoon. Within weeks, his swelling eased, and though tea alone wasn't a miracle, it gave his kidneys enough support that he felt lighter, more mobile, more himself again. Brewing this tea is simple but precise. The earthy, coffee-like flavor of the root comes alive when you boil a teaspoon in water and let it steep for 10 to 15 minutes. The leaves, by contrast, create a lighter, greener taste if you steep them for just 5 minutes after boiling water. Organic sources are essential because the last thing fragile kidneys need is a dose of pesticides hidden in their remedy. Still, as with many gifts of nature, there's a balance. Dandelions are naturally rich in potassium, a mineral that in excess can strain kidneys rather than soothe them, especially for those already managing kidney disease. And if you're already on water pills or blood pressure medication, doubling up on dandelion's diuretic effect can be risky. That's why I always remind my patients, nature is powerful, but it must be respected. A cup or two can refresh, but more isn't always better. Nettle is a plant that most people know for its sting. Touch its fresh leaves carelessly, and you'll feel tiny hairs prick your skin. But when prepared properly, nettle becomes one of the gentlest and most nourishing teas you can offer your kidneys. In fact, nettle has been used in traditional medicine for hundreds of years to calm inflammation and strengthen the urinary system. For kidneys, inflammation is like a smoldering fire that slowly eats away at delicate tissues. Nettle acts like a soothing rain, cooling that fire before it does too much harm. One of my patients, Maria, a 72-year-old retired teacher, struggled with frequent urinary discomfort and fatigue. Her iron levels were low, a common problem in people living with kidney disease. We introduced nettle tea into her routine, just 1 warm cup in the mornings. Over time, she noticed less bloating, fewer flare-ups of urinary irritation, and a steady rise in her energy. She often told me, "It feels like my body is breathing easier." That was the gift of nettle's natural iron, paired with its vitamin C, which helps the body absorb iron more effectively. To brew nettle tea safely, dried leaves are the easiest. 1 teaspoon steeped in hot water for about 10 minutes creates a grassy, almost spinach-like flavor. If you use fresh nettle leaves, you must handle them with gloves, rinsing them well before steeping. Harvesting them in spring when the leaves are young and tender brings out their best qualities. Drying the leaves in a cool, airy space keeps their potency intact for months. But just like dandelion, nettle comes with a note of caution. It contains potassium, and if the kidneys cannot filter potassium well, levels can rise dangerously high. Nettle also carries natural blood-thinning properties, which can interfere with medications like warfarin. That doesn't make it dangerous for everyone, But it does mean the tea should be respected as medicine, not just a beverage. A single mindful cup can be enough to deliver its benefits without overwhelming the body. When used wisely, nettle tea is not just a drink, but a way of saying to your kidneys, I've got your back. If you've ever seen hibiscus petals steeping in hot water, you'll remember the sight, the water turning a brilliant ruby red, almost glowing as if the flower itself has given up its color to the cup. But hibiscus tea is more than beautiful. For the kidneys, it can be a quiet shield against one of their greatest enemies, high blood pressure. The kidneys are like finely tuned filters, delicate sieves through which gallons of blood pass every day. When blood pressure rises, those filters are blasted like a garden hose turned on full force, wearing them down over time. Hibiscus tea contains compounds that relax blood vessels and lower that pressure. I remember a study published in the Journal of Nutrition where participants who drank hibiscus tea daily saw a measurable drop in their blood pressure within just a few weeks. For someone at risk of kidney disease, that drop can mean years of preserved function. A patient named Evelyn, in her late 60s, was one of those people. She loved her salty snacks and had been battling creeping blood pressure for years. Her creatinine was edging higher, a whisper that her kidneys were tiring. We paired her medical plan with a daily ritual, a cup of hibiscus tea in the evening. She enjoyed it chilled, tart like cranberries with just a slice of lemon. Slowly, her blood pressure readings began to ease downward, and her nephrologist and I smiled at the extra breathing room it gave her kidneys. Making hibiscus tea is simple. Boil water, add dried petals, and steep for 5 to 7 minutes. The result is tangy, refreshing, and deeply satisfying whether sipped warm or poured over ice. But not all store-bought teas are equal. Some come laced with added sugar or artificial flavors that undo their natural gifts. The best choice is pure, unsweetened hibiscus petals, preferably organic. Yet as with every remedy, there is balance. Hibiscus can lower blood pressure quite effectively, which sounds wonderful until you combine it with blood pressure medications and feel dizzy when standing. Too much of a good thing becomes a risk. That's why I remind my viewers and patients, respect the plant, enjoy it moderately, and let it be part of a thoughtful plan rather than a substitute for it. Hibiscus tea, when used with wisdom, is more than a drink. It's a safeguard for your kidneys, hidden in a cup of crimson. Ginger is a root most of us know well. It's in soups, stir-fries, even cookies around the holidays. But when steeped as a tea, it becomes something special, especially for kidneys that are weary from years of filtering the body's waste. Ginger's power lies in its ability to calm inflammation and improve circulation. Think of inflammation as a slow rusting inside the body. Left unchecked, it eats away at the kidney's delicate structures. Ginger, with its compounds gingerol and chagal, is like applying oil to that rusted hinge. It helps the body move more smoothly, less painfully, and with less damage over time. One woman I cared for, Helen, lived with both diabetes and early kidney disease. She often complained of constant nausea, a symptom that many people with high creatinine levels face when toxins start to linger in the blood. Rather than more pills, we began with something gentle, ginger tea in the mornings. After a week, she told me, "Doctor, I can finally enjoy breakfast again." That small relief transformed her day. The tea didn't cure her disease, but it gave her back comfort in the joy of eating with her family. Preparing ginger tea can be as simple as slicing and simmering fresh ginger in water for 10 minutes, which brings out its warming, spicy essence. Powdered ginger works too. Just half a teaspoon stirred into boiling water and steeped for 5 minutes. Fresh ginger has a bolder taste and often more potency, while the powdered form offers convenience. Whatever the choice, the key is purity. Organic ginger root without pesticides or additives, or powder without sugars or fillers. But ginger also reminds us of balance. It naturally thins the blood, a benefit for some, but a danger if combined with medications like warfarin. And for those whose blood pressure runs low, ginger's circulation-boosting effect can cause dizziness. That's why moderation matters. 1 or 2 cups per day can bring warmth, ease nausea, and reduce strain on the kidneys without tipping the scales too far. In many ways, ginger tea is less about curing and more about comforting, about helping the body's hardworking filters do their job with less friction and giving the person drinking it a sense of relief that feels both immediate and nurturing. Chamomile is a flower that carries with it a kind of quiet wisdom. When steeped in hot water, its tiny white petals release a golden brew with the gentle scent of apples. For the kidneys, chamomile's benefits are not as direct as flushing toxins or lowering blood pressure. Instead, its gift is indirect but no less important. It calms the nervous system, reduces stress, and supports restful sleep. And for people living with kidney disease, those are not luxuries, they're essentials. I remember a gentleman named Arthur in his 70s who came to me not because of kidney pain, but because of exhaustion. His creatinine was climbing, his diet for kidney disease was strict, and every night he lay awake worrying about dialysis. That stress alone was pushing his blood pressure higher and leaving him worn down. I suggested he try a simple cup of chamomile tea before bed, more as a nightly ritual than a treatment. 2 weeks later, he returned to my office looking brighter. "I'm sleeping again," he said, "and somehow the days don't feel so heavy." That is the subtle magic of chamomile. By calming the mind, it lightens the body's burden. To prepare chamomile tea, dried flowers are steeped in hot water for 5 to 7 minutes. The flavor is delicate, slightly sweet, and soothing. The key is to choose pure, organic chamomile flowers, free from pesticides or unnecessary additives. Many tea bags on the market mix chamomile with other herbs or flavorings, but for kidney patients, simplicity and purity are safest. Of course, chamomile is not for everyone. Some people with allergies to plants in the daisy or ragweed family may find it irritating. And while it is generally mild, too much chamomile can interact with medications, particularly blood thinners. But for most, a single evening cup is both safe and deeply restorative. Chamomile tea doesn't just help the kidneys by easing stress hormones. It gives the whole body a chance to heal during deep, restful sleep. When the mind is calmer, blood pressure lowers, inflammation quiets, and the kidneys can perform their delicate balancing act with less strain. In that way, chamomile offers a gentle but profound support, reminding us that sometimes healing begins not with force, but with rest. Peppermint carries a kind of freshness that awakens the senses the moment its leaves meet hot water. The steam rises with a cooling aroma, almost like a breeze clearing a stuffy room. For the kidneys, peppermint tea's value lies in how it supports digestion and hydration, both of which directly ease the load these organs must carry. When the stomach is unsettled or the bowels sluggish, toxins linger longer in the body, forcing the kidneys to work harder. Peppermint, with its soothing oils, calms the gut, reduces bloating, and helps waste move along more smoothly, giving the kidneys some relief. I once worked with a woman named Teresa, who had been battling recurring kidney stones. She described the pain as worse than childbirth, sharp, sudden, and overwhelming. While the primary treatment for kidney stones is proper hydration and dietary changes like choosing low-potassium foods when needed, peppermint tea became part of her daily practice. By keeping her digestion calm and encouraging her to drink more fluids overall, it helped her stay consistent with the hydration that ultimately protected her kidneys from forming new stones. Sometimes the benefit is not just what the tea does directly, but how it helps us build the right habits. Preparing peppermint tea is delightfully simple. Fresh leaves, rinsed well, can be steeped in hot water for 5 to 7 minutes, yielding a bright and cooling flavor. Dried peppermint leaves work just as well, and the tea can be enjoyed hot or poured over ice on a warm day. The best choice is pure peppermint, organic, free of additives or artificial oils, so that what you drink is as close to the plant's natural form as possible. Yet peppermint, like every herb, has its cautions. For those with acid reflux or GERD, peppermint may relax the esophageal sphincter too much, worsening heartburn. That's why I always remind patients, listen to your body. If a cup of peppermint tea feels soothing, it's a blessing. If it stirs discomfort, there are many other herbal allies to turn to. For most, though, peppermint tea is more than just a refreshing drink. It's a simple way to stay hydrated, to ease digestion, and to create a ritual of care that quietly supports kidney health day after day. Marshmallow root may sound like a sweet treat from childhood, but in truth, it is an ancient medicinal plant with a unique gift for the urinary system. Unlike peppermint or ginger, marshmallow root doesn't bring bold flavors or sharp sensations. Instead, it offers something soft, almost slippery, because it is rich in a substance called mucilage. Imagine a thin, soothing coating, like a balm gently laid across irritated tissues. That's what marshmallow root tea does for the urinary tract and kidneys. It calms, coats, and protects. One patient of mine, Clara, struggled with constant urinary irritation. Antibiotics would help for a time, but the discomfort always returned, leaving her anxious and restless. When she began using marshmallow root tea as part of her daily routine, she noticed something different. Not a dramatic cure, but a steady easing of the burning, a gentler passage of urine, and most of all, a sense of comfort she hadn't felt in months. For Clara, this was more than physical relief. It gave her back confidence in her body. Marshmallow root tea is best prepared as a cold infusion. Unlike other teas that need boiling water, this one prefers patience. The root is soaked in cool water for 6 to 8 hours, allowing the mucilage to slowly dissolve into the liquid. The result is a smooth, slightly thick tea that feels almost silky as you drink it. It may seem unusual at first, but this preparation preserves the plant's soothing qualities. Choosing organic, non-GMO root is important to ensure purity. But marshmallow root, too, has its cautions. Because its mucilage can coat the digestive tract, it may interfere with how certain medications are absorbed. That means it's best to drink it at a different time of day from prescribed pills. And while it is gentle, it is not meant for long-term daily use. Rather, it can be cycled in when the urinary system needs extra support. For the kidneys, marshmallow root tea is like a soft hand placed on a weary shoulder, a reminder that healing doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Its comfort may not be as widely known as hibiscus or ginger, but for those who need it, marshmallow root can be a surprising and welcome ally. As we've journeyed through these 7 herbal teas, I hope you've begun to see that kidney health isn't only about strict diets or medications. Nature has always offered gentle allies, plants that can flush toxins, calm inflammation, soothe the urinary tract, or simply bring peace to a worried mind. Dandelion, nettle, hibiscus, ginger, chamomile, peppermint, and marshmallow root. Each carry a unique gift, but all share one truth. They remind us that small daily choices can protect the kidneys and, in turn, our independence and vitality. Yet remember, no tea is a miracle cure. Drink them in moderation, listen to your body, and always consult your doctor, especially if you're managing kidney disease, medications, or potassium concerns. Healing is about balance, wisdom, and care. And as I often tell my patients, change is possible at any age. I'm Dr. Brian. Thank you for watching, and may your next cup bring health and hope.